So I've been asked a ton when it comes to like, what's your opinion on X matchup, right? And it's only been like 8 days since Testament released. Testament's a great example, but people do this with every character. People want advice and matchups right now that honestly doesn't really work so well. This is not just exclusive to Testament. It's like this occurred when Gold Lewis came out, when Happy Chaos released, when Biken released. And so 9 times out of 10, your first impressions on not just a character, but a matchup will be wrong, right? Because like you're hoping that someone has a very solid answer before we even have solid game plans, right? And a lot of people don't think that like clearly. Like it's not like a lot of people like don't like ask this because they're like, you know, like I need to know everything. It's more like they just want to know. But it's hard to really get a good answer early. Let's say if I think a matchup is decent early, when you add a new character to a game, even if you figure out like, let's say like against Kai, right? I may have like some solid game plan against Kai that may work right now. But the problem is a lot of the time you're not considering how Kai players could figure out countermeasures to that. Even if you figure out the matchup, you still have to wait for their response. You know what I mean? Like it's not so much as you figure this out one way and that's it. Even though a lot of people like, you know, again, Happy Chaos is the hot button topic. It took me 2 months to figure out that you could loop guard crushes, right? I think I figured that out in February. So literally you could say, not even literally, you could actually just say no one was playing the matchup correctly until I found that, right? And that's just because it's so valuable against Nago. And it's also very valuable against Ino and other characters. You could even say that's like what changed the whole game against Happy Chaos. As a result, like sharing information early is valuable, but it's not always good if it could, you know, produce people to play incorrectly. Like if I say like, you know, always use 2H against Kai, and then Kai, like, you know, they find out matchup strategy, like, you know, RPS here, and then, you know, if they go for 2H, you can just punish them. Some like weird situation where they can cover it, then I just gave someone bad advice, right? The thing is, when people ask for advice, a lot of the time they don't expect it to be shifting. There's a reason why a lot of top players do not give early matchup opinions or opinions on character. If I say a character is bad and then in a week they find out like Testament can like 360 no scope you from the top of the screen, like on some Tony Hawk shit, then it's like, how do you as a viewer who's taken that advice, what do you get from that? This is also why I do not give matchup strategies early, because like if I say, you know, early 2H is really good and then like the whole game plan comes around like, oh, just play around 2H and then that's it, you could get watched just because I gave you that advice. And then that puts the expectation on you to improve, and that's kind of the problem with a lot of people have with top players right now. A lot of people do not enjoy when they receive advice that does not remain static, right? Like a good example is like with Soul, you could always say, you know, far slash is a strong option, use it frequently. But you know, if someone starts using 6P or like mashing on it or RPSing correctly, if your whole game plan has been built around just RPSing with far slash, you have to figure out on your own how to adjust that, or you have to ask them again. And so as a result, you get the problem here. So this is why asking for game plan advice is not always good when it's a new character. Like if it's like a month in, my rule of thumb is in a month, it'll be a lot more static and reliable. But for the first few weeks, there's no point talking about a character. SQ mentioned that she thinks Testament could be like bottom 3 unless they find something new. And Hotashi put Testament like pretty high up, like in like high A tier or something like that. I do not have an opinion on either of those because at the end of the day, we're still trying to figure out how to play the character. In the span of time from when Hotashi was talking about that, or like when I played Hotashi, Mochi found that mix-up. The whole thing with like jump H, jump D, RC, or like jump H to K, like that sort of mix-up, right? When you give matchup opinions or character opinions, they are locked in. Like once you produced your content, you are locked in. Once you make that tweet, you are locked in. I will not lock in. I will not lock in until I'm confident that we're not going to find something consistent. It's not about the character's strength. Ignore that. You can see this very strongly in matchup strategy, because one minor thing can make something good or bad, right? Versus Gold Lewis, the matchup with Happy Chaos was not really that bad until, again, people found the charge shot stuff. Because, like, that you just waited, you just biker dash, and then you get close enough and you RPS. It's annoying, but, like, it's not that bad. When they find charge shot zoning, it's become you guess right once or you lose. Yeah. Remaining gender neutral, exactly. For characters like, let's say, Jacko or Happy Chaos, these characters are usually like one or two things from being that can change their entire matchups. For example, if someone found a way to consistently stand off like every hit, I doubt someone would find it, but just as an example, like that would change everything. I didn't say for Faust. See, I'm smarter than that. Though they did find better things for Faust, right? Like that, a lot of the good Faust players use, what's it called? They use like the scalpel shit, right? The scalpel wall slide shit. You have to understand, the first month is for figuring stuff out. Another funny thing about this is when someone, like a good example is if I play against Happy Chaos, people will be like, wow, even she's losing to Happy Chaos. Happy Chaos must be broken. The Testament matchup with Happy Chaos must be so bad for Testament. It's like, I'm just learning a new character. It's literally just like, it's day 6. Relax. I don't even know what ranges my moves hit at. Relax. Even she, it does not work that way. I would say, again, my first impression for these things is in a month, 1 month from release, that's when you can start thinking like, well, like, is this the matchup or what? And even then it's like, well, what if I've just never played that matchup? If that worked that way, if that was really the case, if I wasn't like, let's say, an Anji player and I swapped to every other character, I could make every matchup 6-4 Anji if you use this logic. A lot of people do not understand how that really works. Like, early impressions are not very good usually. Sometimes you can be correct, but there's a lot of factors for how things work. And especially like the more complex the character is and the more mechanics that they work with, the better. The harder it is, I should say, too. Like for someone like Baiken's pretty simple. The only thing that I thought was kind of hard to predict with Baiken was tether stuff. And tether stuff didn't really turn out to be much. So who knows? It could still be discovered to have something. I still don't put much merit into it, though. And a good example is Jacko, too. Because Jacko, everyone was like, this character's trash, cursed character, dookie doo-doo, no setups, no mix, question mark. And then they found the same block string that Happy Chaos has, where they just throw mids at you for like 30 seconds, and they do either 40% of your life in chip, or they drain all your meter. What were people saying about Happy Chaos? 1, he was too hard, and 2, the return was not worth the investment. Which, again, if you listen to that, maybe Strive would be a safer game. But see, I did not buy that. I thought Happy Chaos would have a good future. That's kind of the problem. A lot of people are pretty short-sighted with their opinion, because a lot of people are just like, well, why would you work with this character when you can just pick Leo? Which is like true. When the more complex a character is, 1, the harder it is to figure stuff out with. It'll take more time. I don't even really like that argument. Like in general, like look what everyone said about Happy Chaos. Because obviously, who's gonna actually be able to predict what the character can do in 2 or 3 months? But that's exactly the point. That's why I don't like giving matchup opinions. I also do not like giving character opinions early. And even so, like a lot of people's opinion about Baiken was still wrong, even though she was quite simple. The higher up you are, the more you're gonna feel bad when like something does not work as cleanly as it does with your top tier character. And they released Happy Chaos, and especially think of Happy Chaos on release. No one knows about how to convert with the character. No one knows how to play defense with the character. The far slash looks like it sucks. And then you have Leo where you win off a random flash kick. You're just like, well, I'm not gonna play this character. No matter how strong an option may seem, like you have to also consider like if you say like a character is bad immediately because of like a specific option, that can be valid, but again, you have to always consider counterplay and how people can adapt to it. Especially like a lot of advice involves being preemptive. If your advice involves being preemptive, that's kind of you could just 6P the Dolphin. You could just, preemptively mash against Dolphin. See how that shit turned out? There's some merit to it, of course, as counterplay or like a matchup strategy, but it's not so cut and dry, right? It's not so black and white. And that's also why I don't give matchup opinions. Because if I say like, oh, I think this character 7-3s my character, or like I 7-3 this character, and then I lose to that character, they're gonna beat my ass in the quote retweets. So I'm good.